2025 was not a great year for the world at large, but it was a pretty decent one for cinema. And on a personal note, while it started off pretty crappily, it did manage to make a pretty decent turnaround later on the line. I went to my first wrestling show. I finally started going to therapy, and that's been great. My sister got married. I hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel. I didn't do shit with it, but that's still pretty cool, so thanks, guys. But on to the matter at hand. None of you came here to listen to me talk about my personal life. Let's skip all that and get straight to the list. This is Woodstock Prod. I'm Woodstock, and this is my top 5 movies of 2025. Take it away, Mr. Cumberbatch.
Now, shall we begin?
Number 5. Warfare. You know, some folks will make the distinction that X is a movie about or based on blank topic, but Y is a blank topic movie. I think Warfare might be the perfect example of that. Movies like Saving Private Ryan, Glory, or Hacksaw Ridge, they're movies about characters in a war, but Warfare is a true blue war movie. More specifically, about the sheer frigging pointlessness of it all. The movie follows a platoon of Navy SEALs in Iraq in 2006 when they all get pinned down by Al-Qaeda forces after a grenade is let off in the home the boys were basing themselves in. The rest of the movie is the story of these guys just trying to stay alive while these insurgents try their best to kill them, and one of them is literally bleeding out on the floor, and the actual guys at the real base are sitting on their hands because it isn't safe to risk more guys to come out and grab them for an evacuation. Oh, and the house these guys were shacked up in? Yeah, people actually live there. And, you know, they'd really appreciate it if these assholes would just go home so that the maniacs outside will stop shooting up their place. And eventually the SEALs do pack up, and by the end of it, nothing is done. It's just 2 straight hours of absolute chaos with nothing to show for anyone. No Americans dead, no Al-Qaeda forces dead, no civilian Iraqis dead, thank goodness for that. Just a whole bunch of PTSD and a lot of destroyed property, and maybe a couple $1 million of wasted US taxpayer money. It was one more pointless conflict and a completely pointless war. Number 4. Caught Stealing. This movie is going to go platinum on the FX TNT circuit. This is the kind of movie that's destined to be seen by guys in their mid-teens to early 20s and be made into their entire personality. It's just a really great guy movie, you know? The film follows Austin Butler as a bartender in New York named Hank, having relocated from Modesto. Things are going well enough until Hank's next-door neighbor Russ heads back to the UK to see his dad. And because Russ isn't there, Hank gets caught in some hot water with some very dangerous people, because Russ, it turns out, is the middleman between all these dangerous people. You see, he's got their money, and they think that Hank is him, and they want their frickin' money already. So now, Hank's gotta do his best to keep these lunatics from killing him until Russell gets back from his dad's. The whole movie is just Austin Butler proving he's a movie star in the making, in a genuinely exciting and suspenseful crime thriller. Mark my words, where Timothée Chalamet is going to be to this era what DiCaprio was to the 2000s and 2010s, Austin is going to be this era's Brad Pitt. Handsommer than anyone has any damn right to be, and still an entirely capable actor. Special shout out in particular to Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio as the 2 Hasidic Jew gangsters, and the 11th Doctor himself, Matt Smith, as Austin's Weasley little neighbor Russ. Really terrific, really great stuff. Number 3. The Naked Gun 2025. This is, and I say this without exaggeration, the best parody film I've seen that was released this century. There are so many memorable and hilarious lines in this film, and Liam Neeson is perfect as a parody of the old hard-boiled detective archetype. My absolute favorite bit from him is when he's grumbling at electric cars and narrates, "I remember when the only electric things were chairs, eels, and Catherine Zeta-Jones in Chicago." It's the perfect kind of stupid crap you'd expect some hard-boiled detectives to say, mixed with the comedy of just making a pop culture reference that you don't expect. I also especially enjoy Danny Houston as, yeah, I'll say it, a big satire of Elon Musk types. Rich guys who want to present themselves as both an omniscient god that knows what's best for everyone, but also the last of the really manly man tough guys. When in actuality, they're not that smart, and they're very not tough also. All it takes for Liam S. Frank Drebin to get this guy to quit is to punch him in the face one time, and he's already crying. And again, it's just a really freaking funny movie. These jokes were nonstop. There's even jokes during the friggin' credits. They just don't stop. It's so good. Number 2, Sinners. Yeah, this one was going to be my number 1 for 99% of the year until I saw the movie that wound up actually being number 1 between Christmas and New Year's. I still almost put it at number 1 now, but I just couldn't do it. If you really want to stretch, this is less number 2 and more number 1.1. Moving on though, what a freaking movie! Amazing performances, amazing sets, amazing music, amazing sound, amazing costumes, just a 7-car pileup of amazing things. Everyone talks about how cool the scene where the main character Sammy sings his song I Lied to You, and they're damn right, it is amazing. The film opens with a narration from Wunmi Mosaku's Annie talking about how there are some people who are such incredible musicians that when they play, their music can reach the spirits of the ancestors and also reach forward in time to the people of the future. It pierces the veil between time and between death and life. It's an incredible gift that can create immense joy, but it can also attract evil. And both sides of the coin are exemplified with Sammy's performance. We see him conjuring the spirits of a West African shaman playing traditional instruments, and we see an African American glam ladle guitarist shredding on a flying V next to Sammy, while Sammy continues to play his traditional Delta blues with his dobro Cyclops, only for the both of them to be joined by a hip-hop turntablist scratching it up a moment later. It leads to an incredible mix of these disparate sounds that combine into something otherworldly. It's so good that it leads to these immense expressions of joy from everyone at the juke joint until it attracts Remic's attention. Evil is here, and he's glad to be. The movie also ends in yet another amazing way, with the final scene of blues legend Buddy Guy as an elderly Sammy who's grown to be a renowned and beloved performer that even his now vampiric cousin Stack still listens to, which also ties into what I think is the broader theme of the film: freedom. Everyone at that juke joint just wants one night to feel truly free, and can do so because of Sammy's music. The Clan, of course, actively abhor the idea of these kinds of people experiencing any kind of freedom, so they try to destroy them. And Remick wants Sammy's gift because he wants to feel free again. And he can't because he is a vampire. His soul is bound to the earth. He can't be free anymore. He's damned. And it's the same with when Stack asks Sammy to play him a song on the dobro again, instead of with his Strat. He wants what he can't have anymore, that feeling of true freedom. It'll do for one night, but it'll never be the same as watching the sunset in Clarksdale that night with his brother. And before we go any further, I'd like to talk about a few honorable mentions real quick. These are movies that probably could have made it onto the main list, so I bothered to do a top 10, but I didn't feel like it this year. Now you might be asking yourself, hey Woodstock, if you were going to do honorable mentions, why not you do a top 10 list? And my response to that is, shut up. Good boy. So there's a technique in cinema called the Kuleshov effect, where basically if you put 2 or more shots in a sequence together, your brain ascribes a meaning to the sequence. Wikipedia's page for the subject actually has a terrific example of it, so go check that out real quick. I'll link to it down below and I'll give you a minute to look it up. Alright, so that was pretty neat, right? And that's basically just what makes Good Boy so impressive. The whole movie is that trick. You show a dog staring into space, and then you show something creepy happening on the wall that he's staring at, and you think, oh crap, the dog sees something that the human doesn't see. When in reality, the dog is just staring at nothing, and there's an effect being added to the wall after the fact. It's really interesting, and it's used a pretty good effect for this horror movie. It's very, very creepy, it's very ominous and suspenseful, and the animal actor is also a very well-trained dog. And the filmmakers are really great at tricking you into thinking that he's really reacting to these ghosts and all this creepy business. And as an actual story, I feel like this movie could be seen as a metaphor for the pets of people with a chronic terminal illness, or the pets of people in the throes of a crippling substance addiction. The animal can tell there's something wrong with you, that you're unwell, but they don't have any capacity to understand what's going on, and they have no ability to help you. So all it can really do is sit back helplessly and watch. Like the main human says at the end of the movie,
Dear good dog. You can't save me.
Avatar, Fire and Ash.
James Cameron doesn't do what James Cameron does for James Cameron. James Cameron does what James Cameron does because James Cameron is James Cameron.
Peak. Mickey 17. This is a really good, really fun piece of sci-fi satire. There's something really telling about how cynical we've gotten to be as a society when our idea of space travel isn't so much the idealized post-scarcity society of Jean-Luc Picard and James T. Kirk's Star Trek, and more just an escape route for a disgraced politician to find a way to feel good about himself by creating a world where everyone has to listen to what he says, just because everyone who signs up is a broke loser who needs to get away while they still can, or just doesn't have anything better going on for them, like Robert Pattinson's Mickey. Unfortunately, everyone involved in this story does get a happy ending, with said disgraced politician being blown up on an alien planet by one of the Mickey clones, but I'll let you figure out everything in between on your own. One battle after another, a revolution derailed by personal insecurities that becomes the burden of the next generation. A tale as old as time, anchored by all-star performances from the one and only Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, and the freshly debuted Chase Infinity. Amazing stuff all around. K-pop Demon Hunters. I had a few other picks for this spot. I thought about giving this to The Long Walk, or having it be one shared spot between Superman and the Marvel movies, or maybe a shared spot between the two Predator movies. Honestly, I went with this one just because when was the last time a movie had this big of an impact on pop culture? I mean, sure, I've seen it making a big impact on fandom spaces, but what about the normie spaces? You watch an NFL game, you'll hear Golden being played in the arena. This Thanksgiving, you know the girls who did the singing voices for Huntrix performing that song during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade with a balloon with a tiger creature from the film. Back on the NFL, you have the Huntrix girls performing a version of 12 Days of Christmas during Snoop Dogg's set during the Vikings-Lion game on Christmas Day. You had Kelly Clarkson performing This Is What It Sounds Like on her talk show. When you look up the movie on DuckDuckGo, the duck icon becomes one of the main characters in the film. And hell, on a personal anecdote, the day I wrote this script, I actually was just at the Shrine Circus. And while I was there, I saw a woman taking pictures with the kiddos dressed as Rumi from this film. And Kanto and Frozen were both smash hits that had people actively singing along to the soundtrack, and they were definitely huge in fandom spaces, and I still don't remember them having half the impact that this movie's had. So you might be saying to yourself, okay, that's great, Woodstock, but why do you like it? And honestly, I just think it's fun. The songs are fun, the animation is really fun, the character designs are fun. The story, it's not reinventing the wheel, but it is really fun. And that's it. It's just a really fun movie. That's all. Dishonorable mention. Him. I'm planning on doing a video about a few football movies before the Super Bowl, so I'll probably talk a little more about this one in a few weeks when I do that video, but for now, damn. What a missed opportunity. I think the world of NFL football is a world rife with opportunities for horror. And I even kind of enjoyed the surreal aesthetics of the film, where you can't always tell if what's happening is a dream, is real, or is a hallucination. There's always something strange going on with the proceedings, but then it all falls apart at the ending, where the main character willingly destroys his idol, but then rejects the offer to sell his soul for eternal glory. I like both parts of the ending, but I don't like them together. It's having your cake and eating it too. You either have the main characters signing on the dotted line after killing the Marlon Wayans character without a second thought, or you kill him in self-defense, and then you have him decide, okay, if that's what I gotta do to become a legendary NFL player, you guys can keep it. But instead, they went for both. They tried to have their cake and eat it too. They tried to have it be a savage murder, and then have him say no to the contract, but that just doesn't work. Number 1. Wake up, dead man. I have a complicated relationship with religion. There are a lot of days where I want to be someone like Josh O'Connor's father Judd, a man who sees the ugliness in the world and chooses to be faithful regardless. But more often than not, I feel more like Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc, a man who prioritizes material realities over fantastical stories that are often used not to reinforce righteous values, but to justify bigotry and intolerance. Benoit is someone I relate to, but Judd is someone I aspire to be. And the lovely thing is I think on some level, both men feel the same way about each other. Judd respects that Benoit is honest about his disinterest in faith and religion, half from a genuine preference for the material, half likely from a traumatic background from being a gay man in the American South. And Benoit, in turn, respects that Judd is someone who walks the walk and talks the talk. He doesn't just say the words and hope they connect. He talks about the word because he believes it. He says it from the start. He is a shepherd, but the world is not a wolf. If you see the world as a wolf, then you will inevitably end up seeing everyone you don't understand as a threat to you and yours. Christ did not come to fight the world. He came to heal it.
It's this, not this, you know?
He's there to show broken people like him Christ's love and forgiveness. It's the kind of sentiment that'll give you pause if you're not religious and make you smile if you are. And moreover, the mystery isn't solved in the same spirit as Rian Johnson's last Benoit mystery, where it's a big fuck you to one idiot in particular. It's his message of forgiveness and an admission of guilt. The killer isn't an arrogant moron who thought he was better than everyone. It was one woman who became disillusioned after being let down by the elder priest of her church, after being let down by someone she trusted dearly. In her last moments, she chooses to let go of her hatred and ask for forgiveness. You might be asking yourself if she really deserves to be forgiven, but that's not entirely the point. The point is that when given one last chance to be without hate and to have compassion, the killer, Glenn Close's Martha Delacroix, chooses to have that, to have compassion, to ask for forgiveness, and to let go of her hate. She's lived with so much rage in her heart for so long, and now she finally gets to let it go and have peace. And Father Judd, the man she tried to frame for murder, is the one who absolves her. And on top of all this, I like the fact that, despite everything, Benoit still isn't a believer. When Father Judd asks if he'd like to stay for his first service, Benoit politely says, I can't think of anything I'd want to do less. A lesser version of this story would have either had Blanc accepting Christ or had Judd renouncing his faith, but neither of those things happen. Judd's faith is tested but ultimately affirmed, and Blanc, while acknowledging that forgiveness and the grace of Christ is a wonderful thing truly, he is still incredibly disinterested in pursuing a life of faith. And because these characters are both grown adults who can disagree about the way they see the world, they walk away from the encounter thinking that neither man is less intelligent than the other. It's just a really freaking good movie, man. Final thoughts. And that's a wrap on 2025. It was a lot of fun. For cinema, let's make 2026 another great one, and thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this list of mine, and if you did, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell icon for notifications. I've got a few projects in the pipe that I plan to do between now and the best of 2026 list. Let's see if I can actually get any of that done. I'm planning on doing a handful of anime videos about Yu-Gi-Oh!, Free Run, Spy Family, and My Hero Academia. I've already mentioned my football video, and I'll probably end up doing some content about pro wrestling in the near future. So, once again, click the bell icon if that piques your interest. Check out some of my other stuff. Enjoy the rest of the year until then. Have a great day, everyone. Woodstock, out.